think for realist painters, it's easy to do some beautiful virtuoso painting and not have it hold up. I remember early in my career, I would spend a lot of time doing maybe a beautiful figure and find that it was just a beautiful figure, which made it look like an illustration. Very sensitive about that. So I think for me, the hard part is doing the abstract composition, making sure it's going to work on several levels, compositionally, also that it has a psychological tinge, that the whole thing is going to work as an entity. So I work really hard to think formally at first. Since I have been working with historical subjects, and that has been an interest of mine in particular, I've done a fair amount of research. That means that I will have looked at costumes, done what I can to acquire costumes, and then I start taking pictures of myself or models. I enjoy the costumes. I enjoy the textures. I couldn't fit into them, and so I had to have a body double. My sister fit like a dream. Everything fit her. Nima, I met, and as soon as I saw her, I was struck by her beauty, and I blurted out something ridiculous like, "Your features are so beautiful." Alicia, I've known her through the years. She's amazing, and she's a talented artist. And we got her in that beautiful purple gown, and she looked like $1 million. And so that was the most fun working with them. I've seen most of the pastels that I'm interested in Europe. Typically, those pastels date to about the 1730s, and there are darn few of those in the United States. I was interested in the Francis Coates. I had seen some of his work when I was in Rome. The one that I had seen of his at the Speed absolutely mesmerized me. It's got 2 figures in it, that dyad that I was interested in. I chose the Vice because I'm a feminist, and I was really interested in representing a Black woman. With his, he apparently had come to this country and was mesmerized by all the different races. And so he did a series of several people of different races. So I was really excited to work with the image he had. It was very straightforward, very contemporary. There was a wonderful Père Renaud who was very, very active in the 1730s in Paris. So I was really excited to see that. I have been very interested in historic paintings, mostly working in the last couple of 100 years. So it's not a big stretch for me to seek out paintings that have that sort of basis. For me, it means that I'm bringing to life aspects of the past, marrying them with contemporary ways of seeing. When you dress your models, and they have to wear these corsets, which are tight and you can't bend over in them, they're really pretty miserable. I found that very interesting to see how the past has circumvented women's abilities to move about. I have contemporary women wearing the constricting clothing of the past, but with them they bring their 21st century psyches and power. I am a 21st century person. I can only project my time. So by delving into the past and borrowing from the past and using those kinds of elements, I'm reconfiguring it in a contemporary way. The little dogs have been little creatures that have kept me going. I think in some ways it's maybe a transference of me, another aspect of myself. This is Fanny. She keeps me going when I get overwhelmed or I get tired. I think putting them into the paintings is comforting to me. Oftentimes, I am hell-bent on putting a particular object into the composition because I want it there. In the painting of myself and myself, I had taken great pains to paint a stuffed fox in the corner, realized that the fox was not working, and then decided, well, maybe I can sneak Fanny in there. So I worked this dog in with a great deal of specificity, got that all worked out, looked at it and thought, it doesn't work. I took the fox out, I took Fanny out, the thing went like that. It was like, okay, that's what it needed. You cannot force anything into it just because you think it's amusing. So right up to the end, I'm rearranging, taking things out. They certainly go through shuffles of change. How do you know when it's done? Typically, I feel a certain kind of point of it gelling, but what I do is I leave it out for a couple weeks and start on something else, and then drag it out a couple weeks later, and I'll look at it and it's either done or it's not. I have some paintings here that I'm working on now that have been out for several years. I think every artist goes through it, and until they're under glass, I'm dying to get at them. The project of the speed, they're pretty close to me still, so I don't really have a great handle on what they're saying or doing, but I guess they express to me the strength of women and the intimacies that women have between themselves. What's really important to me is that there's a psychological undercurrent that reaches out or reaches to the viewer, so it makes you wonder who that person is. Why are they behaving in that way, or why do they appear to be responding to, especially in a dyad situation, that other person in that way? So I'm hoping that these paintings will perhaps bring to the viewer some experiences that they might have had in their lives and reflect in that way. Because my story or Nima's story or anyone else's story is not the point. The work should transcend personality if it has merit. And only time will tell, I guess.